Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another tumbler tutorial. In this video, we're going to make a peekaboo tumbler with a really fun dog theme. Last week we did a vertical ombre peekaboo tumbler, so this week we're going to do a regular traditional glitter ombre with a similar kind of style, but I wanted to do two different videos to show you what you can do with peekaboos. I know I do a lot of peekaboo tumblers on this channel, but they really are one of my favorite things to make. I have so much fun with them and there's so many different things that you can do with them. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. And if you'd like more content from me, you can join my exclusive mentorship group. All of the information for that will be on my website and I will have the link down below in the description box for you. We do a ton of fun stuff in the group and it's a really, really wonderful, supportive community. Okay, I think that's it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let's go.
For this design, we'll be using a 32-ounce plump from the Tipsy Magnolia. We're going to remove the bottom so we can do a glitter booty. I have gone over this in previous tutorials, but basically what I do is just take a flathead screwdriver and a hammer, and I just drive that screwdriver into that little cap area and pop that bottom cap off. It's super easy, just comes right off. So I did that, then I painted my tumbler with some acrylic paint. I believe the color I used is called Surfboard. It's the Delta Creative Ceram Coat acrylic paint. Just gave my cup a nice little coat of that, let that dry for about 30 minutes, and now I'm applying a thin coat of epoxy so that I can apply my glitter. For the base of our peekaboo, we're going to just use one glitter. I know, crazy, right? We are going to use one of my all-time favorite colors. If you guys watch my channel at all, you know I use this color probably way more than I should. You guys are probably tired of it, but I love it, so I'm going to keep using it. It's Kaneohe from Peachy Olive Glitters. So I'm just going to cover my entire tumbler with that glitter, and then I'm going to wrap my cup in my sheet of scrapbook paper. You can use parchment paper, wax paper, whatever you have. The goal here is just to get that glitter to lie as flat as possible so that our epoxy coats moving forward will be a lot easier. We don't want any chunky bits of glitter sticking up where we have to do a ton of sanding or a ton of epoxy coats. So once my epoxy layer is dry, I waited probably about 4 to 6 hours for it to dry. I sealed the glitter with a coat of my favorite sealer. It's a 50-50 mix of water and the glitter glue from the Crystal Company. And you can see how flat and smooth our tumbler looks already, and this is before any coats of epoxy. So I'm going to let that sealer layer dry for at least 2 hours, and then I'm going to add 2 coats of epoxy to my tumbler. Each coat was between 20 and 25 milliliters, and I'm waiting about 4 to 6 hours in between each of my coats. After my 2 coats of epoxy have been cured, this is what the tumbler looks like. She is super smooth and super shiny. And what we're going to do before we add our stencils is clean up the top rim of our tumbler. So I'm going to take my craft knife and just flick off any epoxy that's hanging out up on the top rim, then take a sanding block and sand down the top rim of the tumbler really, really well, then clean it with some rubbing alcohol. There aren't too many spots on the tumbler that are not super smooth after our coats of epoxy. This is why I always, always, always recommend sealing your glitter. That extra step will make all of the future steps in the tumbler making process so much easier. For the peekaboo on our tumbler today, we're going to do a little dog theme. So I cut out some paw print SVGs and this quote decal that says "spread love like dog hair." This decal or SVG is available on my website if you would like to use the same one. I will link it down below in the description box. And I decided I had to go with this quote. I went back and forth between a few, but as you know, if you watch my channel, you will see lots of dog hair on my sleeves because I have 3 dogs. One of them is a golden retriever and she likes to really just spread a lot of love, if you know what I mean. So I added that main quote decal to the top portion of the tumbler, and then I'm going to add all of these paw prints on the bottom portion of the tumbler, just basically trying to fit as many as I can. We're going to do a glitter ombre over the peekaboo, so I wanted to kind of separate the top half from the bottom half, and on the back side of the top half we're going to put a golden retriever image a little bit later. So I wanted to leave that area completely blank. I spray painted the top part of my tumbler white, and then I used Skinny Dip from Color Shot for the bottom because we're going to do gold down there, so I just did like a tan spray paint as the base. Once my paint was dry, I went through with a Sharpie and I marked off all of my stencil vinyl to make it a little bit easier for me to find underneath my glitter. I'm also going to use a low temp glue gun to mark my stencils just to be sure I can find them underneath the glitter. So I heated the glue gun up and I'm just going to add a little dot on each of my stencils, which will raise them up and make them a lot easier to find under the glitter. If you're using super light glitters or like a non-metallic glitter for your peekaboo, you can probably skip the glue gun dot step. You just want to make sure you mark them off so that you can see them under your glitter. P.S. I will give you $5 if you can guess what song I'm dancing to as I get rid of all of the hot glue residue from my tumbler. What a weirdo. To apply my glitter, I'm going to use UV resin, but you can use any sort of adhesive that you like. You can use regular epoxy, Mod Podge glitter glue, doesn't matter. I really like using UV resin because I'm so impatient when it comes to applying glitter. I like to just get the glitter on there with the same sort of adhesive quality of an epoxy method, but I don't like to wait those hours for it to dry. So I'm going to use the UV resin. I spread a thin layer of it all over my tumbler, and now I'm going to start going in with my glitter ombre. Starting with my chunky gold, this is Athena from Peachy Olive Glitters. I'm going to cover the bottom like 1 inch of my tumbler pretty heavily with Athena, and then I'm going to start to fade the glitter upwards. Now we're not going all the way up to the top of our gold section. We want to start kind of lower, and then we can always fade that color up later. We just don't want to go too heavy with our coverage and then not leave any room for the white to come down and really build a nice blend. The white that I'm using is Parabatai, also from Peachy Olive Glitters, and I'm going to do the same thing. I covered the top like 1 to 1.5 inches of my tumbler with a thick coat of Parabatai, and then I started to gently fade the glitter down towards the gold. Now going back with Athena, I'm going to bring the gold a little bit higher now, and you can see that as I'm adding the glitter and building the blend, I always keep my cup moving and I hold my glitter shaker really high. That's going to help distribute the glitter a little bit more evenly. It's going to have more room to fall and kind of disperse rather than holding it super close to your tumbler and getting a really concentrated amount of glitter in one spot. Hopefully that makes sense. So once I've done the same with Parabatai, fading it down into the gold, I'm going to move into my finer cut glitters. For the top, I'm using Nookie, which is one of my absolute favorite fine cut whites from Peachy Olive Glitters. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go kind of heavy on that top rim and then gently fade it down towards the gold. With my lighter colors, when I do an ombre, I always go a little bit more heavy-handed than with the darker colors because I want to establish all of the full coverage of the light colors so that it doesn't get muddled up with the darker colors that we add later. For the fine cut gold, I'm using Goddess from Peachy Olive Glitters, of course, and I'm going to do, again, the same thing. I'm going to constantly keep my cup moving and just gently fade that gold up into the white, filling in any blank spots, and that's what's really going to give us a super nice blend. Now for my extra fine white, I'm going to use Boo from Olive's Glitter Outlet, and I'm basically just going to put that all over the tumbler, pretty much going all the way to the bottom. It's a really pretty, like iridescent-y, super sparkly white, and that's just going to help us further our blending. So I'm going to go back and forth a couple times with Boo and then Goddess, the fine cut gold, really just going back and forth, trying to get the blend as smooth and as even as possible. Once I'm done applying my glitter, that's what my cup looks like. Here's a little up close view. And now right away, before we cure our UV resin, obviously, we need to go through and peel up all of our stencil vinyl. I'm going to use both my tweezers and my pin pen here to help me pick up this stencil vinyl. Of course, use whatever tool is easiest for you to work with. You just want to make sure that whatever you're using is going to make it easy for you to get that stencil vinyl up without scratching your glitter layer on top. You don't want to ruin all of that work you just did. So use a good tool, take your time, be patient, and just enjoy revealing all of that beautiful glitter underneath your peekaboo. After removing all of my stencil vinyl, I put my cup on my turner and let it spin in front of my UV lamp for about 30 minutes. After that, I spray sealed the glitter with 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum clear gloss spray, and then I added a coat of epoxy to my tumbler. So at this point, my cup has 1 coat of epoxy over our glitter ombre, and now I'm going through and adding a second coat on top of that. For both of these coats, I'm using the Flynn Sisters Supply Shop Fast Cure epoxy, and each of the coats was probably between 20 and 25 milliliters. So now after those 2 coats, it's time to do our sanding. So I'm going to use a sanding block here. If I just have a little tiny bit of sanding to do, I'll just sand by hand. But if I have a lot of sanding to do, I'll use my electric sander. Either one works, whatever's easiest for you. You just want to take the time to, 1, clean up the top rim, which is really, really important. And also you want to just get rid of any pokey bits on your tumbler. You don't want any bumps, and you don't want to have to add 9,000 coats of epoxy to get it smooth. So after sanding, I washed my cup with dish soap and water, and we're going to move in now to our little glitter booty. We're going to do something super simple down here. I'm just going to take my UV resin and my Kaneohe glitter, which is the same glitter we used for the underneath layer of our peekaboo, and I'm just going to put that in the entire bottom. We're not going to do 2 different colors or anything crazy down here. I just wanted to show a little bit more of that glitter, kind of tie in the bottom to the peekaboo portion. So we'll fill this up, and then we'll put a logo down on the bottom as well. I'm using my little lighter torch here to pop any bubbles. I don't like using my regular torch inside, just makes me a little nervous, so I just use a little lighter and it pops all the bubbles. I'm going to move my cup around here just to make sure we've got super full, nice coverage and everything is even with this glitter on the bottom. And then I'm going to cure it under my UV lamp for about maybe 5 minutes. Once it's cured and hard, I'm going to add my logo to the bottom. Now, I cut this logo out of my clear sticker paper. It's the Avery brand. I really love using this stuff. If you guys have watched my videos recently, you know that I've been using this a lot, and I really like it. So anytime I'm printing something out and I have extra space on my sheet, I just print out a few of these logos, keep them handy, and then I like to add them to the bottom of my tumblers just like this. It's a really good option if you have a tumbler bottom that maybe won't work with like an acrylic logo tag, or you just want something that looks a little different. I really enjoy doing this to the bottom of my cups. So once I had the logo down, I added another clear layer of UV resin, cured that, and then I added a coat of clear gloss spray to my tumbler so that we don't have any dull sanded areas underneath this clear sticker that we're going to put down. So this is that same clear sticker paper, and I got this golden retriever image on Etsy. I just tried to find one that looked the most like my golden retriever, but they've got all of the dog breeds. You can find a whole bunch of really cute dog images, and if you want to make this specific to your breed, or if you have a customer who has a specific dog breed, you can find anything you need on Etsy or Creative Fabrica. So I'm just going to cut this out by hand as you saw, and then place it on my tumbler basically like a sticker. These things are so easy to use, and I really love the vibrant color of them. So once that was placed, I went into another coat of epoxy to make sure everything was sealed and smooth, and now we can add our vinyl outlines to our peekaboo. I had a really hard time picking which vinyl I wanted to use for these outlines. I really wanted to keep it like kind of on brand for me. So I thought about using pink, and then I thought about using black, and then I thought about using gold, but I always use gold. So I thought I'm going to try something a little different. So I grabbed this really pretty chrome vinyl. This is from Teckwrap Craft. And I was like, you know what? This kind of pulls a little yellow, kind of pulls a little pink, and it's just a little different. I don't know. I tried it out and I was like, yeah, I like this. It's different. Let's just go for it. So hopefully you guys like it too. If you don't, use something else. This is my tumbler and I like it, so that's the way it's gonna be. Anyway, I'm going to start by putting the outlines on the corresponding paw prints. Remember, we did 2 sizes of paw prints, so I just want to make sure, obviously, that I'm putting the correct outline on the correct size. And then I'm going to move into outlining the quote. And now I'll be honest, because there are so many coats of epoxy in between when we did the peekaboo and when we're placing the outline on, this was a little difficult because the outline was a little bit too small, like to account for the extra width on the tumbler to like make everything line up perfectly. Hopefully that makes sense. I just did my best here trying to outline everything. If you look really closely at certain angles, you can tell that things are not 100% perfect, but again, this is my cup. I'm okay with it. I just won't look at it from those angles where you can tell that it's not perfect. So as you can see here, I'm cutting everything into the smallest pieces possible to ensure that I can get everything as lined up the best I can. Once all of my outlines have been placed, I'm going to seal my vinyl, and I'm going to use this binding potion from Adhesive Apothecary. She is so sweet and sent me this whole box of amazing stuff, and I've been really having fun trying all of it out. I really like this binding potion. It's so easy to just put on your tumbler, dries really fast, and you can go right into epoxy. So I put that on the cup, and then I added my final 2 coats, and that's it. Here is the final result. I really, really love how this design turned out. I think it's so fun, especially if you are a shedding dog mom like me. You can just carry this with pride and explain why there's dog hair all over literally everything you own. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you like this design. Of course, if you recreate it, please be sure to tag me in your posts at Made by Manny and Mal. I always love to see what you guys come up with and how you take my tutorials and make them your own. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, love you. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Made by Manny and Mal. You can join my mentorship group at the website on your screen. I'd love to have you in the Elite fam. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you are not already so you don't miss any of my new videos. And while you're here, here's another video for you to check out. I want to say a huge, huge thank you to my channel members and my Elite fam members. You guys make this channel possible. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.